Hello again, traders. Right, I called this video be careful or something like that. I'll probably forget by the time I label it, but be careful what you believe about the data sets used for algo trading, because just as was the case when I started trading 20 odd years ago, the myths and fallacies that are all over the internet are even worse now than they were then. And just to give you an example, way back then, I spent years actually banging my head against a brick wall about 1 minute charts being perfectly tradable. All the old soldiers, as it were, die-hard swing traders, whatever you want to call them, would not have it that the M1 was not noise. They just kept saying, you can't trade it, it's noise, this, that and the other. When if you do the research yourself and look at tick charts and M1 charts and M5 and so on and so forth, they all make the exact same patterns. And once you understand the fractal nature of the charts, which probably I took on board after I'd spent a year studying charts or whatever, especially when I saw the 2B reversal, then was the moment that my life changed. But the crossover between all the 1 minute chart deniers and the indicator deniers, because all they listen to is other people instead of doing the work themselves, is this myth about data sets. Now, I often mention the fact that I spend a lot of time away from charts thinking about things and then come back and make a new tweet or whatever, have a new thought process. And this happened to me this week. A guy commented on another post, not one of mine actually, or it might have been on mine, but it wasn't to me, about the fact that he wouldn't trust any of my EAs because they are relatively short-term data sets. Nothing against him personally, but just that belief. Because I had to think about this for a while, and I'd addressed that long-term, short-term data set problem in my own way, because everything I do is my own. I don't listen to what other traders say. Well, maybe one or two, because it sways my personal judgment. So I don't need any other trader, and that is important. In fact, I actively avoid looking at other traders' stuff now. But to get back to this fallacy about data sets and whatnot, let's go back about 5 years to when I came across Dave C on Forex Factory. And he, to me, was the real deal in terms of EA and bot testing and bot creation. And he, way back then, made a real impression on me in that he said, you need to keep re-optimizing. Now, that in itself is a contradiction and a a thought-provoking comment, because if, as I say, the charts look the same a decade ago, back to the 1930s, when some books, just look on my feed, type 1930s in there, in the search box on Twitter, and you will find a couple of excerpts of a book showing M&W patterns, head and shoulders patterns, 2B reversal patterns. In fact, the 2B reversal is in every reversal pattern you can see. It doesn't matter whether flags, wedges, inverse wedges, whatever. You can trade them using the 2B or the 3CR patterns. Anyway, I digress. So back to this. This looks amazing. And it made me think about my thought processes in arriving at the way I produce my data sets now. I mean, this goes back 5 years, and each of these blocks is roughly 5 or 6 weeks from what I could tell. They may well be precisely 4 weeks, but it doesn't seem to add up when I divide the blocks by the time period, 5 years. But if you look at this and you look at some of these runs of flatness, as it were, that is a little bit of a block and then a whole block and a whole block and then a little bit of a block and a whole block, and it hasn't moved in terms of profitability, in terms of profits in the bank in 5, 10, 15, 20, roughly 20 weeks. Now I know I said to myself when I'm producing my bots and the results and the set files, I know I get antsy if I have a week without the curve going like that up. And that, let's say that box is a week and that is a week. That is what I want to see. I do not want to see this ever. Now that in itself is another double-edged sword, because that meant I have binned numerous valuable algos, set files, trading bots, whatever you want to call them. They all mean the same, really. Much the same way as I over the past 20 years, I've binned probably thousands of valuable indicators because I didn't understand how they work properly. So I hear some of you, like Dean perhaps, screaming, yes, you're missing the point though. If we have, effectively we're hedging, if we have 100 different algos, all producing curves of their own making, then we smooth out that that drawdown, as it were. And that's right, I agree with that 100%. But the fact is, most people will never find, especially if they're not building their own, or understanding the dynamics of it all and understanding what they're doing properly. And I'm far from that level yet, I admit that. I'm new to algos. But if you purchased an algo with a 5-year history like this, and you started here with your 100 grand or your 10 grand or your grand or whatever, and after 5, 10, say 12 weeks, what's that in months? 3 whole months, you were sat at a 20% loss on your capital, you would be insane. This would make you happy because you're in profit. 2 or 3 days later, you're back to square one. I can't stand that sort of fluctuation. And this is why people buy these things for £1,000. People will sell you this one trading algo bot, whatever, for £1,000, and then you suffer this lot. So not everyone will sell you these, but 99% will be flogging this crap. So this whole video came about because of one comment, not really directed at me, but about me. And then I took 5 or 6 hours away from the charts to think about it. And this is why I do what I do now. This is why what Dave C said to do, which is re-optimize. I think he said between 3 and 1 months, but go and read his thread on Forex Factory. It's free and the information there is priceless. I would appreciate any comments on this video, good or bad, but not rude. Just keep it polite, guys. On your thoughts on this, if you've taken the time to listen to it, and I appreciate that. You know, subscribe, like, comment, and all that. But I accept that I'm probably only talking to about 5 of my 16k followers on Twitter and whatever it is on YouTube for. So anyway, thoughts on this, guys, would be greatly appreciated. But these are my thoughts based on what Dave C taught, and a few people like Dean on Twitter have talked about, and my own thoughts as well. So this to me is absolutely worthless, apart from something that I may risk pennies on. So I've got £100 here, I'm £80 here, and then I've doubled it to 300. But as something that I want to make money on, proper money as a trader, then this has got no value unless I'm a multimillionaire. And most people getting into algo trading, paying £1,000 for this that looks good, are not multi-millionaires or billionaires. Okay, rant over. Soon time for me to hit the sea again. I absolutely love my new lifestyle in Southeast Asia, and I recommend anyone tries it. I've never ever been healthier, happier. Every day I set foot out of my home, I have the hugest grin on my face because of all the activity of really, really lovely people and a lovely society. Anyway, have a great weekend. It's Saturday morning, and every day is a Saturday morning for me. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.